What's going on, guys? I'm Nick the Tutor, and I'm back again with an awesome update today about the Common App. Now, many of you know the Common App is a centralized application that is used to apply to American college. Typically, the Common App doesn't change very much. They have a set number of prompts and essays that you're allowed to write, and it doesn't really change. But this year, because of the coronavirus, they've actually added another essay, which is optional. That's a coronavirus essay, and that's what we're talking about today. So make sure to watch this video so you know how to apply to college this year. Let's get into it. All right, guys, so here is the new essay. Community disruptions such as COVID-19 and natural disasters can have a deep and long-lasting impact. If you need it, this space is yours to describe those impacts. Colleges care about the effects on your health, well-being, and safety, family circumstances, future plans, and education, including access to reliable technology and quiet study spaces. Do you wish to share anything on this topic? Yes or no? Please use this space to describe how these events have impacted you. And you do have 250 words for this optional essay. Now, this is huge news. In one of my last videos, I believe on TikTok, I did state that no one, or maybe not no one, but people should not write their Common App essay on coronavirus. I guess that I was right because the Common App had the same exact idea. They wanted to create a separate space for students to write about coronavirus, so they didn't get a million coronavirus essays, which they invariably would have gotten. I think they learned that from past experience, right? Big cultural events, big current events typically result in a lot of essays, this being probably the biggest one ever in our society, especially for young people with the disruptions to school. They said, you know what, we're gonna give a separate space so you can put your essay there. So now let's talk about some really important stuff. What does this mean for you, the student? Well, what it means is you're going to have to craft this essay if you have been impacted by coronavirus positively or negatively. I think what they're doing is they're giving you an opportunity in an optional setting to say, you know what, something about my application won't make sense unless I explain what's happened to me here. I think they're also giving students an awesome opportunity to talk about some of the positive things that they've done. I mean, you know that the students working with the consultants and the tutors and stuff like that are going to try to craft some kind of approach that's going to better their college application. So this is huge news because what it does is it's adding an extra layer to the Common App that it never had before. What it's also doing is adding an extra layer of work on top of all the students, right? So you now have another essay that you have to complete. So definitely some important things to think about. Now that said, now we understand the implications of this, what's going on. Now we want to talk about what should I write? You know, should I write something or should I not write something? I think, look, if you have nothing legitimately important to say about what you've done or what's happened to you during this period of time, there's really no reason to adventure out and write an essay. If you feel it's not necessary, just don't include it. I mean, not everyone is going to have something great to say. Now, if you did have some major impact that does affect your application, maybe, you had some issue with your grades, you had some family disruption, financial hardships, like you want to tell them about that stuff because that's going to better help the colleges understand where you're coming from and what situation you've been in. So that's totally fair and I think an awesome thing for students. Now, I think the big question is students who want to highlight achievements that they've had during the coronavirus, shutdown. Is this a place for that? Let's get into that in a second. All right, so there's actually some more information on what this question is geared at on the Common App website, and I'll read it to you now. This question will be optional and will appear in additional information section. The response length will be limited to 250 words. The question will be accompanied by a more detailed FAQ to help students consider the kinds of impacts they may wish to report, including illness, loss, housing and employment disruptions, and shifting family obligations. So what I think is they're gearing this towards people who have had hardship, right? This is not geared towards, oh, I started a charity and I want to tell you about it, right? So this sounds like it's not an essay that's meant to highlight, your achievements, but more so an essay that's meant to highlight an issue that you've had to face and that you've overcome. Now, We know that people are going to try to use this to show off, and the question is, will that be a good idea or not? I think right now, no. I think there's going to be other opportunities for students that have done something really positive during this time to say show off and show their achievements. I do not think this specific essay, at least as it's currently written, is intended to be a show off essay. It's intended to be, this is a hardship that I faced, and this is exactly what happened to me, so that you can better understand contextually, you know, my resume, my application, and my credentials. Now, you should also know that this language does not replace all the other additional information prompts, and you still will be able to add any other additional information you need to about your application. Say you had some other issue, you'll still have that space. So this will not replace that. All right, guys, there's also more information on what they're adding. So they also added another space where information about grading scales and policies, graduation requirements, instructional methods, schedules, course offerings, testing requirements, and academic calendars and other extenuating circumstances will be provided on your school profile page. So not only will you have information to add, but there will be changes to each school's profile, each high school's profile, to describe to colleges what kind of circumstances you've been in. So if your college has been in an area, if your high school is in an area that has been, you know, more deeply affected by coronavirus, that will in some way be noted on your application. If you've gone to a pass-fail format and that's not your fault, that will also be on the application and will be known. So there's going to be a lot of information, and there's also a quote from a college counselor thanking the Common App for including this question and saying that it addresses a lot of concerns and feedback from counselors, and we want to thank the Common App for giving students a space to feel seen and heard. The crazy part is that this person also said the inclusion of the COVID-19 question will give our students an opportunity to name and describe the challenges and triumphs they have endured during this pandemic. So the word triumph is kind of like a success term. So maybe they are opening this up a little bit to students who want to say something awesome that they did. So beyond that, they're also adding a space, and it's part of your school profile, for counselors at your high school to actually have a 500-word response box to explain the circumstances that the students in that school have gone through. It's not going to be individualized each student, and it will be placed in every student's application, but there is a place where your school can actually write something to help you and better explain your circumstances, which I think is awesome, because that will give some counselors an opportunity to do a really good job of explaining what the students have done, what they've endured, and I guess how things are going. So that's great. That said, I want to wrap this video up with another important point. All students should really consider what they're doing right now. I know school is tough. There's not a lot going on. Many of you have online school. You might be inundated with work, you might not. But the thing is, the students that are able to move forward are the ones that are going to be most successful during this period of time. If you're able to start some kind of charity, build a website, grow a social media profile, write a blog, start a newspaper. I could throw out a million ideas. If you're able to do some things like that and put those on your resume, add those to supplemental essays, you know that colleges are going to have further supplemental essays about coronavirus. They're not just going to leave it at the hardship essay. They're going to ask you, what'd you do with your time, right? If you have a great answer for that, you will succeed on your college applications. If you do not have a great answer for that, doesn't mean you won't succeed, but it's going to be a hell of a lot harder. I'm Nick the Tutor. Thanks for watching this video. Subscribe to the channel, and we'll be dropping more current events and news about the college process coming soon. Peace.